What do being crew? It's your boy Savon Thomas back with another episode of Coffee and Comments. Today we're going to review the movie Jingle All the Way. Was it good? Was it trash? Let's talk about it, but first, let's take a sip. Welcome back, Being Crew. As I mentioned on this episode of Coffee and Comments, we're going to review Jingle All the Way, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated Christmas movies of all time. I remember watching this movie growing up, and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of movies that like you have a nostalgia factor for, that you remember like loving and being good, but if you rewatch it, the rewatchability sometimes is trash, right? Like I remember I used to love the old Power Rangers movie back in the day. And I thought it was like the greatest movie ever. And I rewatched it a few years ago, and I was like, this movie is straight ass. Like, I don't know why. I mean, you're a kid, so you don't really look into like acting and score and all these different factors of like rating a movie. But like we were rewatching it, I'm like, bro, this is straight trash. So I was interested to see Jingle All the Way again as a 31-year-old man to see if I liked it, and I did. Again, still one of my favorite Christmas movies because overall it's just fun, right? I think if you're rating against like most movies, it's not gonna rate like high. Like if you rate against like Interstellar or Inception or like some of my favorite movies of all time, I'm not gonna rate it as high as those. But for like a good just Christmas movie, I feel like this ranks in my top 5, if not my top 3 of Christmas movies of all time. The reason being is because it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's a story of just a dad trying to help his little kid out, right? So for those that haven't seen Jingle All the Way, the premise is this overworked dad. He's in sales. He's never really with his family all the time. He never sees his son. Kind of breaks his promises. But for Christmas, all his son wants is this one toy, and it's this Turbo Man toy. Every kid wants it. The most sought after toy of all time, apparently, according to this movie. And he forgets to get it for him. So it's literally the entire journey of him trying to get his son this Turbo Man toy. And all the things he goes through to get this toy for his kid is just fun. There's a lot of good actors in this movie as well. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously, who's the main character. You have Sinbad, who is straight hilarious throughout this entire movie. Jake Lloyd, who also played the little kid Anakin in Star Wars, kid Anakin. You have Rita Wilson, Jim Belushi. You have a few different like actors and actresses, famous actors and actresses in this movie, comedians as well. So it's a fun movie. Like it's funny, it's fun. There's all these different things that they go through. They fight giant Santa Claus. Like it's just I don't know. I when you think of Christmas movies, this is like one of the ones where it is a little bit over the top. That's what you expect for Christmas movies, but it's just fun. Like they're trying to dodge the cops. You have Sinbad, who becomes like this antagonist character along the way because he's also trying to get this toy for his son. So you see two dads competing against each other, and Sinbad just makes these jokes that I think that's really what adds the element of this movie to me is the good comedy in it. Like other movies that you might see, like your Home Alones or whatever, they're just as cheesy as this movie, but there's not as funny. Like the funny elements for those movies comes from like people getting hit in the head or maybe some like physical comedy. This comes from like Sinbad's character cracking jokes, right? Jokes that as a kid I didn't understand, but now that I'm older I kind of get, right? He's talking about like I don't know, white America, and it's just a I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It's just a fun movie, right? In my opinion, like I said before, one of the most underrated Christmas movies. I don't feel like I don't hear enough people talking about this movie when they talk about like their favorite Christmas movies of all time. If they do, it might be a fringe top 5 for them, but most of the time it's like Home Alone or Die Hard, which no offense to that, but it's just like this movie plus like claymation movies I feel like just get overlooked near Christmas time. Like it has to be like these big budget films, which this is a big budget too, don't get me wrong, but it has to be like these bigger known films or like more nostalgic films. I'm like, bro, this is just a good movie. Like it played on TBS all the time growing up for me as a kid, and I used to always sit down and watch it when it came on. So I love this movie. I gave this a 6.9 out of 10, which you might be like 6.9, but you like it. That doesn't make sense. Again, I wouldn't put it on the upper echelon of like the movies that I watch on a regular basis. Like I'm not watching this movie every single month or whatever. Like, this is a movie that during Christmas time I'm watching. If it's not Christmas time, I'm not watching Jingle all the way. But because it's Christmas, one of the best Christmas movies in my personal opinion. 6.9 out of 10. I'll put this on a medium dark roast list. Definitely worth watching during the Christmas time. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to the episode of Coffee and Comments.